Hi everyone, this is Lijuan.
This is Shuhan.
This is Tien-yu.
We're glad to be here to take you through what we did as a group in our computer-assisted translation project. In this presentation, we'll be covering 6 topics, from the initial planning stage of the project to the very end, and some of our reflections upon the whole process. It's been great fun working as a group, and we're constantly amazed at how much more we can learn and achieve through team efforts instead of working alone. Without further ado, let's get started. Throughout the whole course, we were introduced to a variety of translation tools and were taken through the basic workflow of completing a translation assignment. For our final group project, our main aim is to do something that can reflect the whole workflow, can be achieved within one single software, and serves PMs and translators at the same time. MemSource proved to be a great choice. Then we met as a group, put together our proposal, and delegated tasks. For the project, we decided to translate texts related to Ebola, which was and still is under spotlight around the globe. In our meeting, we each took on a role in the assignment and carried out the desired tasks on spot. We, of course, watched each other during the process. Afterwards, we reflected on the whole process.
Overall, we believe that we have carried out a very successful and professional project. Among all the things that went well, I would like to particularly mention about 4 things. First, we have a very detailed statement of work in which specifications, deadline, and deliverables were very clearly listed. Second, we have a very well-controlled language. We decided to do a project of a computer-assisted translation of news on Ebola. With that in mind, we had a very clear image of what kind of information, what kind of glossary we were looking for. Third, we have profession and efficient execution. We followed every single step listed in the statement of work, which basically covers every procedure in reality that we have to go through as a professional translator. And also, as for efficient execution, we met regularly every week to check out if we have any problems so that we could solve those problems as soon as possible. Also, as we used MemSource, we were able to learn how to be both a project manager and a linguist so that we can work more collaboratively. Fourth, we have very good quality assurance. What we did is, after we added our own translation, we exchanged translation work for proofreading. And also, in order to make sure that the target language completely convey the idea in source language, we turned to bilingual people for advice. And last but not least, we have to make sure that our translation accords to the language used in media broadcasts and newspapers. So we have gone over newspapers to learn media terminology used to cover news related to Ebola.
When we were doing this project, we faced some challenges. For example, we faced some challenges when we were choosing the material for our translation memory and for the translation. One of them was that although there is a lot of information about Ebola in forms of news articles or reports, many of them were not so restricted and often included some subjective description. Usually we had equivalent text in Chinese and English to be aligned for translation memory, but we also needed to spend some time checking whether the unrestricted parts were correct and appropriate. Also, although the articles were all about the same topic, Ebola, they may cover a wide range of different places and people, and they were updated very quickly. As a result, we may not have sufficient information about a certain incident, which could probably affect the accuracy of our translation. Besides challenges, I'm also going to share with you what did not go so well during our project. When we were building our translation memory, we faced some technical issues. For example, we couldn't upload our glossary for a while. It was because we weren't very familiar with main source. But as we discussed and tried, we were able to solve the problems on our own. Besides technical problems, we also revised our term base for a few times. At first, we made a glossary that contained some commonly used proper nouns in those news articles, but later we found that there were not enough words and that the words weren't all helpful for the text we were translating. So we then decided to improve the term base by expanding its size and by adding terms that could more directly help translate our source texts. After our revision, the translation result was more accurate, and we thus didn't need to spend too much time on editing and proofreading.
At last, I would like to make a conclusion about all the lessons that we have learned. First, we have acquired working knowledge of memory source. Through this project, we know more about how to use memory source. And second, we have a better understanding of how to task delegations so that we can work more effectively. Third, we also learned that teamwork is the best way to learn, so that is because we will be able to identify and solve the problems that we are not able to do alone. Last but not least, we learned that along the process, revise is very important. We have to make sure the quality of our translation so that we can have a very successful project. So overall, it is a very successful and helpful project for us. Thank you.